Good morning. It's such a great day to have synchronicity. I am so excited that you have joined us again in this healing space. Today, we are joined with Angelica, who is CEO of Tea Therapy by ALK, ALK. And I am so delighted to have you with us today to give us all the tea on your tea. So, Angelica, good morning. Tell us about yourself.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm certainly happy to be here to discuss some of the topics that I really do enjoy, which is hot tea and mental wellness. Like you mentioned, my name is Angelica Kendrick. I am born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. I got my bachelor's in psychology and my master's in mental health counseling and have been licensed in the arena of mental health since 2017, I believe. Since being licensed, I've been in different arenas within the mental health field. I think we've all kind of had our different experiences. So I did, the in-home counseling experience, the insurance counseling experience, and then I ended up in corporate America doing assessments for patients that would come into the emergency room. And after some time there, got promoted into a leadership role that, for lack of better terms, kind of swallowed me alive as expected. But I learned a lot about myself while in that role and really did enjoy it. And I think it kind of brought me to where I am at today, which is really wanting to focus on improving our relationship with work. When I talk to people, I find that a lot of people they save their self-care for nights and weekends. And so essentially we take in this deep breath and we hold it and we go into our jobs and we just sit there and hold our breaths and we don't exhale until we leave. And so that's kind of where my practice has brought me in kind of improving our relationships with work, improving our coping skills within the barriers of work. That's kind of where tea therapy came in at. I realized that some of us, especially in the mental health field, will recognize that, the grounding techniques. So just holding the hot tea, smelling the hot tea, tasting it, all of those different things activated my senses and just kind of brought my anxiety and stress level back to where it was manageable while I was in the parameters of work.
Yes, I love it. Definitely, right? And you are hitting those buttons because as I sip my tea, I'm just feeling your words, right? Listening to the or smelling the aroma and just having the warmth of the tea in your hand, and just feeling like the warm liquid that kind of soothes your throat from being a practitioner talking all day, right? Um,
Yeah.
how did you come up with the ideas to kind of transition from mental health work to tea therapy? How did that happen?
As far as the transition, I always wanted to, before I got into the mental health or decided to go into the mental health field, I was interested in improving workplace environments. Um, and then long story short, I kind of had to cut that entrepreneurial goal short and kind of get a job at the time. That kind of cut those aspirations short. And so after about 5, 6, 7 years, I'm kind of now um, back thinking about my entrepreneurial goals in, like I said, improving workplace environments, and just providing different tips and tools to improve our self-care and our coping skills while in the parameters of work. And I have created, a list of things that, I'm going to edit and publish for the general public. And one of those things is pretty much at the top of my list, hot tea, and just different things. Hot tea might not be for everybody.
Mhm.
So just kind of coming up with different things and different ways for people to care for themselves. And it's still mental health.
Mhm.
It's still, self-care. Um, a lot of my passion and purpose in moving in the arena of workplace environments is that it's one of the top stressors of adults.
Yes.
Whether it's the top three are finances, health, and work.
Mhm.
And then when we talk about young adults, one of their top stressors is, what am I going to do for work?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's so ingrained into our lifestyle, and it could really impact if we're having, a good day or a bad day. And so I really just kind of focus on how can we improve our workplace environments. And that can be a system of a team or an individual of, okay, I need to take a walk outside, or okay, I need to go make my hot tea. And so that's kind of where I focus my energy at.
Yes, I love it. So I have a package of tea therapy here with me, and that is what I am luxuriating in. I have the ginger and turmeric with a slice of lemon, and it is just soothing the soul. So
Yeah.
what would you say, Angelica? What is the mission behind tea therapy? What would you say to that?
Yeah, my mission with tea therapy is inviting simple but effective ways of self-care into our environments and our atmosphere. Self-care most certainly is a vacation, most certainly is a spa day, most certainly is all those things, but taking the time to just enjoy something as simple as a cup of hot tea while you're maybe, I'll say, quote unquote, stuck at work.
Mhm, that's right.
um, so being able to enjoy self-care and practice self-care, although you might not be thrilled about where you are at in your environment at the time. And so not waiting until your vacation that's scheduled a month away and things of that nature. And so really wanting to highlight ways to take care of ourselves, whether we like our environment or we don't like our environment.
Right. Yeah. And I love the simplicity of it, right? And so, meeting with clients, they'll say to me, well, I can't afford to take a vacation right now, or I can't get a massage until the end of the month, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so now this introduces, have a cup of tea, right? Do some
Mm-hmm.
tea therapy, all
Mm-hmm.
right? Take 10 minutes away from whatever that stressor is and sip your tea and be mindful of
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. And so it doesn't cost a lot. It's not something they have to wait for. All they have to do is wait for the tea to steep, and
Mm-hmm.
then they can be away on their journey
Yeah.
right then and there. So the simplicity of it is definitely something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just thinking about things just as simple as making a doctor's appointment is self-care.
Mhm.
Not canceling your doctor's appointment is self-care, and things of that nature. And so those are things that you can kind of just slow down and do while you're sipping your hot tea at work. And so I just know that it just kind of slows things down. I realize that the term fast paced environment is everywhere now. Everything is so fast paced. I think it's America and capitalism. Everything's so fast paced. And
Mhm.
where are we really in a rush to get to? Because as soon as we get there, there's going to be another goal, there's going to be another project, there's going to be another report. And
Mhm.
so just being able to slow down and enjoy the moment that we're kind of having while at work, I think is really important, because going fast, 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 I mean, you reach burnout.
Yes.
That's never fun. And then once you kind of reach burnout, one vacation really isn't going to solve that. I mean, how many of us have taken a vacation and it just really kind of solved all of our our worries. And so I think it's really ingraining the self-care and the vacations and the timeouts throughout the day and throughout the week is really the goal, or should be the intention, rather than focusing on, okay, my vacation is my annual vacation is in a few months. And so that's kind of what you focus on, versus kind of focusing on how do I invite a mini vacation into my life every day.
every day. What's the day to day,
Mhm.
right? And not looking for something that is in the future.
Mhm.
So Angelica, could you tell us a little bit about what is work wellness and how is that different from work life balance?
Yeah. I think everyone is more familiar with the term work-life balance, which is great. I think that's kind of gets us a step closer to where we should all be. And the term work-life balance has always been around, but I don't think work-life balance and self-care was really at the forefront until the COVID pandemic.
Mhm.
And that's when people really started highlighting self-care, mental wellness, work-life balance. And so I guess before I answer your initial question, work-life balance is essentially how do you maneuver your activities outside of work to make work not such a big thing, or the main part of your life. So how do I leverage my church activities? How do I leverage my family, my friends, my hobbies, the gym? So how do I leverage those things to balance all the time that I spend at work?
Yeah.
And so that would be a summary of work-life balance. And then work wellness is essentially how do I leverage self-care within the parameters of work, and
Mhm.
not just, like I said before, holding my breath and walking into work, and essentially holding my breath for 8 hours. Some people work 10, 12 hours a day, and then not exhaling until I leave work. And so really just improving our relationships with ourselves and with others at work. Um, Wanting to somehow find a way to kind of keep that new job smell, kind of like the new car smell. How do you keep this new job smell?
Mhm.
I think with most of everybody, whenever they get their first job, no matter what it is, they're excited about that job. They are, up the night before like it's the first day of school. And then after some time goes on, that new job smell runs out, and you just don't like it there anymore for whatever reason. And so really just finding ways to give people permission to breathe while they're in work. So activating, one or five of the senses while at work is a very good idea. And so there's like acupuncture mats that people can, put on their feet. There are, the ergonomics is very important. So maybe, a standing desk or a bouncing ball is very important. Taking care of a plant, taking a day out of the week to just organize your desk or organize the documents on your computer. Um, Taking the time to intentionally not gossip at work
Mhm. Yes.
would be a part of work wellness. Preparing a cup of hot tea before a stressful meeting is work wellness. And so the list really goes on and on different ways that if we're intentional, we're inviting self-care into our workplace environments and not just saving it for after work or on weekends or on vacations, because then we're almost kind of compartmentalizing ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of where stress and burnout is highlighted when we compartmentalize, okay, work. So this is when I go to work. And so I'm already mad before I even got there.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
already stressed. I'm already annoyed. And I'm already rejoicing when it's time to leave work. I'm already rejoicing when it's time to clock out for the weekend. And so, really wanting to kind of leverage that and, decrease the depression, anxiety, and burnout that's associated with Sunday nights
Mhm.
and just the anticipation for Mondays. And so that's kind of where my my vision and my purpose lies. And I'm kind of introducing it with tea therapy, with that kind of being my source of self-care.
Yeah, really good. So being intentional with
Mhm.
your thoughts and how you're taking care of yourself throughout the day, throughout the work day, would kind of talk about what work wellness is.
Mhm.
Good. What about mindfulness, Angelica? Could you tell us why is mindfulness so essential?
Mhm. Mindfulness is essential because I truly believe that our mind doesn't need us, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense. And I'll say that by meaning, we can live by and die by our habits.
Mhm.
And so if I take the same way to work 365 days out of the year, I almost don't need to be present in that. My mind has picked up and it's gone with that habit of how I get to work and how I get home from work, what I'm preparing for my meals, and so on and so forth. And so I think it's very important to align the mind and the body so that one is not kind of running without the other.
Mhm.
Um, and so in mindfulness, you kind of bring your habits kind of in check
Mhm.
and kind of remind, who's boss, or maybe you're both boss, hey, body, don't, mind, don't forget I'm here, body, don't forget I'm here. And so it's just an opportunity to slow down, really, and to bring intention back into the things that you're doing. And so sometimes I'll tell a lot of clients, I use that example of driving to work, take a different way to work. Now, I'm not saying, take the route that's going to take, much longer to get to work, but take a different route to work sometimes. Or I think my favorite illustration is I think Saturdays or Sundays are a big cleanup grocery day for people. So I say, pick a different day. Just
Mhm.
give it a try. And pretty much every client comes back and says that it just made a huge difference in their life just by
Mhm.
doing those small things and just kind of putting mindfulness back into the decisions that they're making and not kind of letting the decisions that they make kind of take control of them. So yeah, mindfulness and being mindful is very important. I do think that a lot of people judge their
Mhm.
ability to be mindful. So I think one of the key aspects of mindfulness that a lot of people practice is meditation,
Mhm. Mhm.
which makes a lot of sense. But a lot of people give up on their meditation practice because they don't think they're doing it the right way.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like the main practice of meditation is the number one thing is to not judge,
Not judge.
not judge. And so if your plan or your goal is to meditate for 5 minutes and your mind got away from you in all of those 5 minutes, that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
You can make a goal of, next time, okay, the next time I meditate, I'll allow my mind to get away from me for 2 minutes. But after those 2 minutes, I'm going to attempt to make my mindfulness or my meditation journey for these next 3 minutes be different. And so I think it's just the continued practice of it and being able to, what us humans are difficult in doing and not judging how something is going and just letting it kind of be how it is. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, mindfulness is very important, and finding the best mindfulness practices for each individual is important as well.
Yeah. Really good. Good stuff. I love when clients come to me and they say, I can't meditate because I'm not doing it right. My mind was racing, my thoughts was racing, and I thought of all of these different things. And I'm like, you did it excellent. You are
Yes.
a master meditator. Just the fact that you were able to observe how
Mm-hmm.
many thoughts you have in 5 minutes, that's meditation, knowing your thoughts, right? So I love giving that spiel.
Mm-hmm.
So, Angelica, when you hear the word mental illness, what comes up for you?
Hmm. Mental illness, what comes up for me? A lot of things come up for me. There's obviously a big stigma when you hear the terms mental illness. And I think for right reasons, that term has evolved for good reason. And so, where I think people are now using mental health more, or mental wellness more, and realizing that everybody has mental health. Everybody has a mental wellness spectrum, and some might be on one end, and some might be on the other end, and they're most of us, which are somewhere in the middle. Um, and I think coming to the realization that today my mental health might be at an 8. Tomorrow it might be at a 5. The day after that it might be at a 7. And so it doesn't have to be a one size fits all
Yeah.
thing. So mental health, mental wellness, it's not a one size fits all. When I hear the term mental illness, um, me having experience in working with individuals with high acuity, I think about individuals with schizophrenia, um, high suicidal ideations. And so having a mental illness, in my opinion, it's interfering with your work, your family, your social life for an extended period of time, is what I would categorize as mental illness. Um, eh, which can encompass a lot of different people in a lot of different scenarios. And so I think that there's a lot of stigma with when people hear mental health, mental illness, and all of those things, that they jump straight to psychosis
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
straight to, the psych unit. In which I've worked with a lot of individuals that were at that acuity level, but the reality of the matter is a lot of us do live with mental health
Mhm.
battles that don't necessarily is at the acuity of mental illness. And so, yeah, when I hear mental illness, my mind kind of goes into different directions because there's a spectrum. One of the main reasons I got into psychology and I got into counseling is because I'm very intrigued by um, everyone in the world. There's I might get the number wrong, maybe 6 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
There's billions of people in the world, and not one person is the same.
That's right.
Not one person is the same. Not one person is going to go to a problem the same way. They're going to solve it the same way. And so that really attracted me to counseling, and really attracted me to just kind of wanting to help spread the awareness of mental health and mental wellness and just kind of help lower the stigma of it all, because what's normal?
Mhm. Mhm.
Who's to decide what normal is?
Mhm.
And so I do feel as if anyone with a mental illness, acute or non-acute, should be treated just the same and should receive just the same treatment as anybody else.
That was really good. Thank you for that, because that was a hard one, right?
Yeah.
And so really enjoy seeing you process that and applying that your definition to that term. So thank you.
hmm
So Angelica, what stress reduction techniques do you currently utilize?
I might have not heard one of the words. You say stress reduction techniques? Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Stress reduction techniques that I use. So obviously hot tea. And I
Mhm.
don't just drink the hot tea. I literally, as you know, with my loose leaf tea, I get lost. I'll sit there and get lost in the tea bags. And so obviously hot tea is a big one of mine. Journaling is a big one of mine. And when I say journaling, I don't mean just like conventional writing out words and sentences like most of us are taught to journal.
Mhm.
I really battle at times with perfectionism or being a perfectionist. And so there used to be a time where, if I started a journal and I misspelled a word, or the handwriting wasn't nice, I'd throw the whole journal out. And so I got to a point where I kind of would face it, to where if I go to my journaling, I'll intentionally spell words wrong. I'll intentionally draw and doodle and just kind of make it look crazy. And so when I say, journaling for me is, maybe I'll write a word of how I feel for that emotion for that day really big on the middle of the page, and just kind of draw around it, or write scriptures around it, or write sentences around it. And so that's a stress reduction technique that I use. And so I just kind of wanted to illustrate, when I say journaling, I kind of really mean like
Yeah.
some really expressive journaling there. Stress reduction, I really do enjoy cooking. As crazy it may sound, I like cleaning. I like folding clothes. I'm an organizer. I like things to be organized.
Yeah.
I love reading, very much love reading. And I get it wrong. Is it fiction or nonfiction that's fake? I think it's fiction.
Yep.
Fiction. I always get that wrong. So I really do enjoy reading fiction books. It gets me out of my head, pulls me into like a new world or a mystery that I'm, trying to solve. And so reading has been a great stress reduction for me as of late. And I think as of now, at this time, gospel music is definitely something that really helps me out big time. And I would say I have a couple other things in my toolbox, but those are kind of, I think, would be my
Yeah.
go-tos right now.
Yeah, I love it. I definitely love that expressive journaling,
Mhm.
right? That really sound, I mean, the way that you were explaining it, I could kind of see like bubble letters all over the
Mhm.
page, and doodling, sun
Mhm.
and stars on the side. And I was like, okay, that does seem like that would get some things up and out of you. So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Else, Angelica, what else do you want to tell us? How can we find you? What other information do you want to leave us with?
Yes, absolutely. So I can be found on Instagram at underscore Lolita K. So that's underscore LOLITAK. And certainly give me a follow. At some point in time, I might change my handle. No time soon, but I'd say follow me sooner than later before I change that and you lose me. But my link to order any of my wonderful tea blends right now is on the link in my Instagram. And so I do have the ginger turmeric that you mentioned. I have a cool mint. I have a green jasmine, and I also have what's called a calm nights, which is actually
Mm,
my best seller right now. And although it's called calm nights, you can drink it throughout the day too. But it's one of those ones that kind of helps you just
yeah.
relax and kind of get you to where you need to go. Um, Other than that, I think that would be the easiest way to connect with me is Instagram, or send me a message or a DM. I do work with different corporate teams. And so if anyone is interested in me coming and doing a workshop to help improve communication through MBTI workshops or self-care workshops, I'm your girl.
Wonderful. That sounds amazing. I'll make sure all of your information is tagged and pinned under this interview. I
Mhm.
am going to have to go and order some of that calm nights. That sounds like it is bowling right up my alley. So I'm excited
Yes.
about that.
Hmm.
Thank you. So humble that you spent some time with us this morning. And my goal for you, my wish for you is to continue to be brave, be magical, and above all else, be well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye bye.